really important. It is not, I don't think that any particular, although I agree that many aspects of the philosophy are, in one sense, controversial, in that these are the things that, these social questions are the things that are being debated in society today. The philosophy is not really putting forth a unique or original point of view. Mm-hmm. The major thing I think that we're in a position to do, and happily so from my own point of view, is to permit the exchange of views on these things and to probe into some of the questions that do not find a general airing in the popular press. And I think this is one of the problems that we've suffered from in the past, related to sex and some other questions too.
Well, I don't deny that you occasionally ambush a dissenter into writing in your columns so as to be slapped down by your very skillful editors. But there is a Playboy line.
Very much so. Very much so.
That Playboy line is a line that, for instance, refers to the, quotes, bugaboo of sin, refers to, quotes, sacred cows. And as I understand it, the bugaboo of sin is your reference to those theological sanctions that attempt to restrain certain people from giving way to lustful anxieties on the grounds that to do so is wrong. What I don't understand is what I wish you would explain to me is why you simply brush aside the very concept of wrong and right. Why you feel that that they are highly irrelevant, provided you have, as you so frequently put it, two consenting adults.
What I attack is the notion that right and wrong should be related simply to the notion of sin, simply to a notion of thou shalt not, rather than related to the real ultimate interests of the human beings involved. That's what the philosophy is all about.
But do you suppose that the people who wrote the Bible, some people even allege that they were divinely inspired, or against the ultimate interests of people?
Are you
going to die a happier man than St. Francis of Assisi as a result of your pursuit of hedonism?
Basic sexual ethic is really based upon the Bible per se. It's much more complex than that, and became, much more restrictive than that.
Well, I would find it a much easier geographical act to trace a line between Puritanism and the Bible than between the Playboy philosophy and the Bible.
Yes, I think that's right.
Although I agree with you that there are certain accretions which have never been acknowledged by all theological thinkers, but all theological Christians, theologically trained thinkers, take the position that simply because somebody desires to do something doesn't necessarily make it right. But I don't understand you to be taking this position.
I think we're overlooking a very important key in this thing. One of the basic things that we have argued against is the notion that in our particular concept of a free society, with the emphasis that is placed in America on the separation of church and state, that the notion of sin, or predicating these social sexual taboos on any kind of religious concept, that this is not a proper approach in a society in which that is supposed to be pluralistic and supposed to be secular. It doesn't mean that each particular religious denomination can't come up with their own particular evaluation of sin as they see it, but I don't think that sin should have any particular place in secular society as such, because it's a religious concept and should remain there.
Gentlemen, we'll pursue this point further after this brief interruption.
It seems to me, Mr. Hefner, that your position begs a couple of facts of life. I know you're interested in facts of life. One of them is that man being religiously oriented, a society tends to have certain religious commitments, which may be extremely necessary, in fact indispensable, to the ethos of that society, whatever the particular arrangements are as regards the actual division of the authority between church and state, so that I think it is possible to say that there never was a completely atheistic state, at least not one this side of tyranny. But the second, even accepting your premise, is surely this, that in your emphasis on the private moral authority of the individual, you cease to take into account, do you not, that man's sexual activity, if it is normal, is not a masturbatory matter. It is something that involves other individuals, and that in the course of that relationship, all of society has a certain vested interest in the nature of that relationship. And that under the circumstances, it is not, as you put it somewhere here, when you said a man's morality, like his religion, is a personal affair best left to his own conscience. Surely it isn't personal if it involves somebody else, if it involves children, if it involves his neighbors, if it involves his whole relationship to the community.
You've raised two kinds of questions there, two separate questions. I think that obviously you do need in any society, and there has always been, an underlying ethical or moral set of values that is society-wide. But I think that it would be dismissing too lightly the thing that is distinctly unique to, or was in the beginning, to the American concept of democracy. This notion of separating church and state was a rather radical kind of concept when it was conceived, and a great many people didn't think it was going to work.
As a matter of fact, it was never conceived in America.
No, it wasn't
9
conceived
out of the
there,
13
but it's
states had established religions.
Yes.
So the idea of the kind of division you're talking about was a discovery of Earl Warren of about 7 or 8 years ago.
No, the kind of concept I'm talking about is something that you'll find in the Constitution, and it wasn't in the first 13 colonies, but it was indeed incorporated into the basic concept of America. And this wall of separation that they talk about, not excluding religion per se, or religious morality is what we're really talking about here, but recognizing that traditionally, historically, in the old world, this was the key to much of the chaos and the etc.
Let's not talk about the entire of separation of church and
Okay,
state. To
but
a
let's
certain
get
extent,
into that.
I agree with you. What I am challenging is a